to Women's Footy, thanks to NAB. My name's Brihony and I'm joined on the desk today by Collingwood superstar Ruby Slisher. How are you, Rubes?
Good, thank you, Brihony.
How was my pronunciation then on the name? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, no, you nailed it a lot better than what I've heard from a few others. The commentators are pretty used to screwing it up, but I think they've finally figured it out this year, so it's good.
You were telling me before the show, like, a couple of the butchered versions of your name. Can you give me a couple of them?
Yeah, I've had Schleecher, Schleeker, Schlickalacka.
Schlickalacka, that was the one.
I've had it.
Schlickalacka. Oh, I feel like such a schlickalacka after that. God. Ruby, you had a great win yesterday, fantastic, and I just want to have a quick chat. Huge news during the week that the next season at AFLW is going to start in August. How do you feel about it?
Look, really exciting for some, really devastating for others. You got to, your heart goes out for the girls who have done these this year. My good mates, Bri Davey, Britt Bonici, pillars of our team.
And a lot of ACLs this season. There's been 7 million. They're the official stats from the AFLW.
Yeah, you can fact check that.
Yeah.
Heart goes out to them, means they're going to be missing another year of footy with no chance of getting back. But really exciting as well, a chance to sort of align us with the men's and, we're still our own competition, but sort of if we can be around the same, time of year, that's pretty exciting and hold some really great opportunities in, having fans come across watching us and then watching them as well. But I guess the challenge is you look at, playing in winter and wet weather footy, but as the competition gets older, our skills are going to get better. Girls coming up have never had to stop playing footy, which is really exciting. So I don't think the wet weather will be too much of a challenge for too long.
I don't think it will be either. I agree. I think it's absolutely fantastic. You can follow us on socials at Women's Footy AFL on Instagram and Twitter. Let's get stuck into the round 10 results now. The Geelong Cats took on the Giants and were defeated, and Collingwood absolutely thumped the Tigers. Very well done there, Ruby. And North got up against the Eagles, and Melbourne managed to hang on against a strong finishing Carlton team. It was very good. Let's take a look at the ladder now. Melbourne and Adelaide are 1 and 2 at the moment. That could change after today's game. Then we've got Brisbane Lions, Kangaroos, Collingwood and Fremantle making up the top 6. So this is what the AFLW finals might look like as it stands at the moment. You'd have the Lions playing the Dockers and then North playing Collingwood, but you could be playing Brisbane or North depending on how today's games go. Who would you rather play?
Look, you love a home final, in Melbourne. Not that it would be home for us, it would be for North, but not having to travel is always a plus. But I think there's something really cool in possibly heading over to Brisbane, playing at the Gabba, hopefully, sort of a replay of last year in the prelim where they got us by 4 points. I think that left a pretty bad taste in our mouth, and obviously they got us pretty good earlier in the year, thumping us really. So I think we want a chance to redeem ourselves, and that would be a massive driver for us. So personally, I'd be pretty excited to head over to Brizzy and try get them over there.
Yes, Ruby wants to play Brisbane in the first qualifier there. Let's get stuck into our news headlines now for Nilex, experts in watering. Well, Collingwood absolutely thumped the Tigers to secure a spot in the finals. You must feel really good about that, Ruby.
Yeah. Oh, look, it wasn't a pretty game. It was, credit to the Tigers for putting the pressure on us. They were at us all day, and we knew they were going to come out hot. But it was good. The girls, stuck to their guns, and star on there, Abby Maloney, the young kid who's come in and just offered so much up forward. We're really coming good at the right time of the year. So proud of the girls to sort of get that job done, and anything can happen in finals.
And what was it like to play Richmond?
Yeah, oh look, I think it was more nerve-wracking for Sabs than for any of us.
She really stepped up, didn't she?
Oh, she did, didn't she? She's really coming into form at the right end. So yeah, we love having her on our side. But it was pretty heated out there. You can see a couple little incidents out there, but that's football as well. And you walk off the field and you shake hands afterwards.
And you had a very impressive game as well. 25 possessions, leading from the front. Are you hoping for a little bit of a back-to-back All-Australian nomination this year?
Oh, look, that would just be the cherry on top, really. set the challenge to myself earlier in the year that I just wanted to make sure I continued the momentum from last year. All Australian or not, I just want to make sure I play good, consistent footy, and you know, probably had a bit of a lull at the start of the year where the coach challenged me to you know, bring a bit more of my defensive element back, which, you know, I love because I love being challenged as well. But obviously when you have, you know, big outs like Brihony and Brihony in the midfield, missing that bigger body, he sort of gave me the green light to run through and get that bit more attacking, which is how I love playing as well. So, you know, playing some fun footy at the back end.
You certainly are. You mentioned the mid-season lull. You guys were pretty... we're in a bit of a lull there for a little while. What's been the key to changing that sort of momentum and finding some form back in this later half of the season?
I think just trying to play like Collingwood. I think we were maybe thinking too much about what we were doing and trying to, you know, do too much as players. But I think we've gotten back to trusting that, you know, the girls, the 21 that are selected for the day, they all bring what they bring, and we don't need to do anything more or anything less. So I guess, yeah, belief around the group that we can be one of the best. Obviously, some, as I mentioned, Brihony, Bree Davey, you know, we've had a pretty rough year, as a lot of teams have.
Yeah.
So finding our feet through that again. But, you know, it's exciting, and it's a credit to the girls that we can get ourselves back on track after a tough few weeks. It's almost, you sort of in a little bit of shock that we're in this position in finals, because it did feel like a really tough start to the year. But, yeah, it's an absolute credit to the girls.
Well, here's what your coach, Stephen Simons, said about the win yesterday.
Look, there's no secret we're trying to get our game back a little bit over the last couple of weeks, and part of that's trying to be a bit more up-tempo. We felt through the middle stages of the season we were playing a little bit too slow and using our feet, trying to use our feet, and wasn't quite working for us. So we got going again back with our game style, throwing the ball around a bit, and sometimes out there we overdo it, there's no doubt about that. We throw it around a little bit. Sometimes we make it up as we go along, and we make a few mistakes doing it, but the girls like playing that way, and it gets a bit of excitement in the way they play and a bit of energy. And look, if we keep on getting results like that, we'll keep on doing it. But look, we've just got to try and get the balance, get a bit more balance in our game about knowing when to go fast, when to go slow, when to kick, when to handball, and get that balance right. And if we can do that right, we're going to be dangerous come finals. I have no doubt that there's going to be a few teams nervous if we do play against them. So we've just got to try and get that balance right.
Finding the balance, mate. Can you do it?
100%. As I said, anything can happen in finals, but we've shown really promising signs in our game over the last 3 weeks, you know, particularly against Adelaide, you know, going down to them by 2 points. The best team in the competition for years now.
Yeah.
But we got to play our brand of footy. We didn't get sucked into their game, and I think if we can do that against them, such a strong side, we can really do it to anyone. So
awesome. On a little bit of a sour note, though, teammate Sophie Casey could be in a little bit of trouble for this bump.
Good cover defence from Casey.
Yeah, look.
I think she's in a bit of trouble there, mate.
Yeah, it doesn't look great, but on her side, sort of, she came up with the footy. You know, that's up to the MRO. The thing with Kate, you know, that case, that wouldn't be with any sort of malicious intent.
No.
She's a genuine star person, star player, and you know, if she does go, that hurts for us. She, you know, what she brings on field, she's very underrated. You know, her attack on the footy and the physicality that she brings to us, she really lifts us as a side, even if she's not getting her hands on the footy.
Yeah.
But yeah, hope, you know, I'm sure they'll look at that, and that's up to the sort of MRO to figure out. But fingers crossed, we've got a.
Excellent. All right. Well, the D's had a win yesterday, but they missed an opportunity to grab the top spot there. They really held on in a bit of a scratch match at the end, didn't they?
Yeah, Carlton really stuck it to them, which is exciting, and, you know, similar to what we knew Richmond were going to do to us. You know, they're a team with nothing to lose, so, you know, why wouldn't they come up and just leave everything out there? So really good signs for Carlton, I guess. You know, at Casey Fields, there's that howling breeze. I think all scores but one were kicked down this end of the ground that you see on the TV. But, yeah, no, promising signs, but, yeah, Melbourne were lucky to hang on to that one.
They were pretty lucky to hold on, and when Darcy was kicking that goal, then you just sort of were looking at it. Is it
leaning with it? Yeah, that's it.
So should the D's be worried about this performance? They had a huge win last week, a little bit scrappy this week. Are they taking the right form into the finals?
Oh, look, I think one game doesn't say too much. I think they've proved throughout the year that they're one of the best teams in the comp, and probably their brand of footy that they're playing. A lot of teams envy it. You know, you've got Daisy Pearce, who's in flying form, Taylor Harris, who's equal leading goal kicker at the moment. They've Kate Hoare, who's always just a crafty small forward. Lily Mithen, who, you know, small girl in the midfield, is absolutely killing it. So they're playing some really exciting footy, and I think they've proved that they're a team you're a bit nervous to come up against. I don't think that game is, they won't take too much away from that, and none of that will break their confidence.
Awesome. All right, well, North's percentage boosting win versus the hapless Eagles. They really, really took it to them yesterday. Some really outstanding performances there by the girls. Do you think the twin towers of Talia Randall and Emma King are they just too strong? It's just absolutely huge, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. It's a hard team to match up on. I mean, they've got stars all over the ground. If their forwards aren't turning up and kicking goals, then their midfielders in Jazzy Garner and Jenna Bruton are shooting forward, Ash Riddell shooting forward and getting dangerous. So they're so versatile. You know, Kate Ashmore on the wing, able to get forward and hit the scoreboard as well. But that's the thing, Emma King, Talia Randall, both up forward. What do you do? Sort of thing. They're a very dangerous team.
What do you think they're going to be able to do in finals?
I think anything. They honestly are. They've always been obviously a team of stars. They drafted a team of stars in that first year, and I think this year is the most dangerous I've seen them. They've really figured out how to complement each other's game, which is really dangerous and really exciting for them. So this could be the year that, you know, I think they felt that they were a little bit stiff in that 2020 season when the season got cut short. But yeah, who knows?
Well, we talk about they're a great team, but there was an excellent individual performance yesterday from Ash Riddell. 42 possessions, record-breaking. Beat the previous record by Anne Hatchard by 7. Talk us through these stats. Look at this game, Ruby.
Oh, she is just a star, isn't she? I think her disposal averages, you know, she's been great the last 3 years. But her disposals are up 8, average of 8 disposals on the last year. So she's just taken it to the next level, and to do that in a great midfield as well. It's not that she is the only player getting their hands on the ball in there. You're surrounded by Jasmine Garner, Jenna Bruton, you know, these girls who are star midfielders. So for her to be able to, you know, put that out on the park every week, it's amazing.
A little hot tip for BNF, perhaps?
Yeah, I think she'll be up there.
She will be too.
It'll be a tight one.
And how are you feeling about West Coast? They've really just not had a good season. What do you think they're going to do with it? Are they just going to put it behind them, or do they need to really sort of focus on it to reset themselves for next season?
Look, I think they showed promising signs on the weekend, which they can really take out of that and going into the next season. It's hard with those expansion clubs still finding their feet. You see it with St Kilda as well. You know, they're still trying to find, you know, where they sit in the competition and what sort of footy they can play to make themselves competitive. But, you know, you always got to take away positives, and they probably weren't going to get there, you know, this year. But as I said, really promising sides, really promising young kids coming through the ranks as well. Another really exciting draft year coming in. So, you know, I don't think they're too far off. And, you know, with a leader like Emma Swanson, who's just drags them through the mud every week. They're pretty well placed, and you know, exciting future to come. Yeah,
and I think she's so great for the club. She's a captain, she's a firefighter, and what she does for them, she's instrumental, and she's such a brave player.
Yeah, I was fortunate enough in my waffle days before I was drafted to Collingwood. She was my captain out of East Fremantle, so I know exactly what she would be talking to those girls about, and I absolutely loved her as a captain. She just leads from the front and leaves everything out there, and you know, never puts her head down, which is what those Eagles girls need at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, God, she's had a great year.
And another shining light for West Coast was Beth Schilling, who took some brilliant intercept marks as well. And so there really are some positives for the Eagles going forward.
Definitely. You know, they've got a great spine. They've got, you know, good bones to the team. They just, you know, lack that little bit of composure and little finesse at the moment. But, you know, a couple more years in the competition and that'll come.
And the depleted Giants, they finished the season with an absolute bang. They did fantastic yesterday, produced a whirlwind second half to defeat Geelong at Cardinia Park. It was a fantastic effort.
Yeah, really good. So exciting for them. Obviously a really rough year and probably one that they'd like to put behind them, but really nice finish to the year.
And they were missing Beeson, Parker, Chloe Dalton, but they were able to overrun Geelong, and I think that shows like a really strong team performance.
Yeah, definitely, and you know, that'd be led by obviously Alicia Eva, who was also my vice captain at Collingwood in my first year, so another absolute star. Loved playing under her, and she's got a great relationship with all the young kids, which, you know, GWS are quite a young side.
Yeah,
but yeah, it helps when you've got Cora Staunton up there kicking 4 goals, doesn't it?
Yeah, and Alicia Eva, she had 17 disposals yesterday, 9 tackles. She's just she's an incredible leader there, isn't she?
Yeah, that's it. And, you know, the 9 tackles, when she doesn't have her hands on the footy, she's, you know, making sure she's hitting a body, and that's something that she's so great at. Even though she's only a little thing, she her physical presence is huge on the field and really lifts the people around her.
And Jess Doyle had a great game as well. Couple of cameos with 2 important goals late there. Ruby, how do you see her game?
Such an exciting young player.
Yeah.
Little 18-year-old, finds herself in the right spots. Tall enough that you sort of have to send a tall defender to her, but agile enough that she can sort of make her way around them. You know, when you've got Staunton getting off the leash every week, you sort of have to send your best defender to her and give her a bit of extra attention. So when you've got a young forward coming up that can also hit the scoreboard, that's really exciting for GWS.
And for Geelong, Chloe Shear was pretty fantastic in defeat. She's such a strong player. I just love watching her.
She's just so smart. It's, you know, her footy smarts are probably one of the best out on the field. She uses her body really well. She's only a little thing, but she's so strong and such a beautiful set shot. You know, never looks like missing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, really exciting prospect for Geelong.
And it was a great pickup for Geelong, wasn't it? Because, you know, she's come into the club. She had a bit of an injury, but now she's really hitting her stride.
Yeah, she's flying. And, you know, Geelong, you know, we played Geelong and they really stuck it to us. It was a really close game and they're really hard competition. So it's really exciting for them coming into the next few years, I think, because they've got such a young side, but a side that are getting experience from a young age. So these girls, when they're coming into their prime, will have a lot of footy games behind them and they're going to be pretty dangerous.
Yeah, they're going to be exciting in the years to come. Well, that was the news headlines. Thanks to Nilex. Recycled water hoses, water like a Nile expert, available at Bunnings. Coming up is North Melbourne's Ash Riddell. After the break, can't wait for that one. Stick around. Welcome back to Women's Footy for NAB, who are giving away $10,000 to a local footy club. Simply scan the QR code on your screen or visit nab.com.au/footyisback to enter. Well, I want to welcome North Melbourne champion Ash Riddell via Zoom. Ash, how are you?
Yeah, good. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on. It was an absolutely huge game from you yesterday. 42 possessions, breaking the record by 7. How are you feeling?
Yeah, feeling pretty good this morning. I think collectively as a group we played really well and got back into some form after last week. So it was a pretty solid team effort that everyone just sort of played their role, which is nice.
Well, Ash, you're our Snaffle AFLPA MVP of the week. It was an absolute no-brainer this week. You can cast your vote at aflpa.com.au. Let's take a look at some of your highlights from yesterday because it was a huge game.
Ash, you're an absolute star, but you're a star that's surrounded by stars. You can see Jenna Bruton and Jazzy Garner in a lot of these clips next to you. How much do you love playing with these girls?
Yeah, I absolutely love playing with them. They're my best mates, and I guess I'm probably a little bit of a beneficiary of their successes where they probably might cop a little bit more attention than what I do just because they're so fantastic. So it's been nice to play with them this year, and obviously with Ali Gavalis and Mia King coming through that midfield group, we've developed a lot of depth through there, and it's a lot of fun out there with them, so I really enjoy myself.
Ash, what do you reckon the key to your consistency has been this year? Because you spoke to us off air earlier and you said you would have liked to have stepped up a little bit more last week, and you had in your mindset that this week you were going to have a great game, and you really nailed it.
Yeah, I guess I like to think my consistency probably comes in pre-season. I'm pretty anal about doing everything on the program and working hard and trying to bring others along with me on the journey. So I'd like to think most of the work's sort of done in pre-season, and hopefully that puts me in good enough stead to sort of have a relatively consistent year this year. But yeah, as I said, probably last week, I probably was a little bit disappointed in my performance, and the whole midfield group was a little bit frustrated with how we played and how we got beaten up by Brisbane. So we were looking to put in a good performance this week and just get back to playing our role and get organised around the stoppage.
Well, that was our AFLPA MVP of the week, thanks to snaffle.com.au. Let's talk about another couple of highlights here, because it was great to see Bannister kick 2 goals as well. She's certainly the feel-good story at the moment after a couple of years of bad luck with injury.
Yeah, Daz is an absolute outstanding player. She doesn't need to have too many touches to have an impact, and we know that. And she just, I certainly wouldn't want to be playing on her in training. Just the bulldozer and crushes the packs and probably, scares me. So I'm happy I'm nowhere near her on the field. So she's outstanding, and she's starting to put in some really solid performances and be really consistent, which we know she always could be.
Now, you're hoping for 4th spot finish, depending on today's games, but most likely playing Freo. What's the mindset going into this game?
Yeah, I guess just probably carry on the momentum that we sort of got from yesterday's game. Freo are a solid side. We've had a few really close matchups with them, and we know that they'll probably have a few players returning, so it'd be a lot stronger than when we played them earlier in the year personnel-wise. So I guess just play our roles, keep organised, and it's finals footy, so it's super exciting.
And I'd love to get your thoughts on what Emma Carney had to say after the game. Let's take a look at it first.
I've got Em Carney down here. Em, you brought everyone in at the end there. What was the message there?
Well done, we ticked a box, we won, but that was a really disappointing last quarter for us. We just went away from what we do really well, and when we're going into the finals against good teams, we can't get away with that. So, yeah, things to tidy up.
You want that kind of passion from your captain, don't you?
Yeah, she's a star, and she definitely doesn't hold back, but she's absolutely spot on. I think even from my end, there was a couple of kicks that were probably a little bit too cute and needed to just do the simple things. So we probably went away a little bit from the way we like to play, which, as Khan says, probably won't hold up in finals. So something definitely to work on during the week.
I don't mind that from Carney. That's a leader that has high expectations of her team, so I don't mind that at all. Tell me, what are you looking to improve heading into finals?
Probably as a group, we're just being able to sort of, against West Coast, we probably didn't read the game a little bit. We went too fast at times and probably need to slow it down a little bit. So I guess getting that balance between our sort of fast plays and slow plays is probably a key going into finals, especially when the pressure's high. You probably do a few uncharacteristic things. So just having that poise and composure to slow the game down when we need to, but also know when to go fast is probably something that we need to improve on.
And tell me, will you be watching today's Freo game, or will you sort of forget about it and be focusing on yourselves for the next week?
I'm always pretty eager to watch the games. I know some of the other girls aren't as keen, but I like to sort of dissect the game and wrap my head around things and sort of know what to expect going into next week. So I'll probably keep an eye on it, but the main focus will be on how we perform this week and where our growth areas are.
Ash, thanks so much for joining us today. It's been great having you on.
Beauty, thanks guys. Thanks for having me.
And you don't go home empty-handed either. All guests on Women's Footy take home a Samsonite luggage package. Where there's live sport, Samsonite is there too. For innovative travel and business solutions, visit samsonite.com.au. You also get a Spinal Ease pillow. The best pillow in the world is at spinaleze.com.au. Also, Zena Sport is a valued NAB customer. The Zena Z and Youth Vest are a fantastic way to ensure that we're empowering women and girls and athletes of all ages, particularly those who play contact sports. Available today at zenasports.co. And you're also going to get a $50 McCafe gift card. Try the Aussie Angus burger at Macca's today. Coming up, Collingwood's Sarah Rowe. Stick with us. Welcome back to Women's Footy for NAB. We're here at the McCafe, so try the deluxe iced coffee at McCafe today. Nadia, you've got my coffee. What, orange mocha frappuccino? Thank you so much. Yes, mate, have a sip.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, delicious, isn't it? Delicious McCafe coffee. All right, let's get stuck into it. Sarah Rowe is joining us via Zoom. How are you, Sarah?
I'm good, Brihony. It's a pleasure to be on talking to you. Not so much Ruby, though.
Yeah, have you met Ruby? Have you guys spent much time together?
I think I've seen you before.
I see her face way too much around the place, and that's why I'm strategically placed in this kitchen, because she's left a mess in the kitchen and she knew that I had to go on camera this morning. Classic
Actually,
Ruby.
Sarah thought she'd have a late night feed of eggs on toast with Avo last night, and when I woke up early this morning to come here, the Avo was left on the bench, so feel free to clean that up whenever you're ready, Sarah.
Classic. Avo on the bench.
Ruby, everyone knows that eggs and Avo is a breakfast meal, not a dinner meal, so that's the lie.
Apparently not. According to you, apparently not.
Can I break this up?
Sorry,
Can we talk about some footy? Can we talk footy for a second? Rowe, you had a huge game yesterday, 18 disposals, and you came away with the win as well. How are you feeling?
Yeah, we're absolutely delighted with the win. I think we've had a bit of a disrupted season this season with injuries and all those things. And I think we lost a bit of confidence there for a few games. And I think to build again as a team and just build that confidence again has been really important for us. And I think we're coming good when we need to. And I think it was a massive team performance again yesterday.
And your run and carry as well at the moment is just elite. How are you feeling about your game?
I think run and carry is something I've always wanted to bring into my game. It's very similar to the style of footy that I play at home, the Gaelic football style. So I think it's something I always feel I can impact that way in the game. And being out in the wing, you have that bit more time and space. So it makes it easier. But like when you have people like Ruby and stuff running off you, it really helps as well.
And do you look up to Cora Staunton as a role model at all in terms of, you know, coming from your Gaelic footy and now you're both in your AFLW?
Yeah, well, Cora and I would have played together on my Mayo team at home for 5 or 6 years, I'd say. So I would have learned a lot from Cora. She would have played in the full forward position, and that's a position then that I played full forward and corner forward. So I would have played alongside her for a couple of years. So I know, you know, how driven she is and how much she's done in the game. And I think it's so admirable what she's done, especially this season, just coming out and being a real leader for the Giants. It's been massive and huge to watch, and everyone at home in Ireland is really following that journey too.
Yeah, I absolutely adore her. I think we're going to talk to her later in the show as well. But I want to talk about Jamie Lambert. She had a huge game yesterday as well. She copped a knock in that first quarter, but then had 31 disposals and just had an absolute ripper game.
Jamie Lambert is an absolute pleasure to play with. She's one of those players that just sees things that other people can't, and she just opens up the ground. She really brings other players into the game. So I think she was absolutely exceptional yesterday, and she has been all season. She's been a real leader for us.
Yeah, she was hurt in the first quarter with that, in that mark. I think she got a hit to the ribs or the back, but came back on and ended up with 31, I think. So she's tough as old boots, old chopper, and yeah, it is, as Rowe said, just a pleasure to play with her.
Old Chopper.
Old Chopper, that's her nickname.
Is
Chops.
It?
Yeah, Lamb Chops.
Oh, Lamb Chops.
Lamb Chops, Chopper. I don't think I've ever heard anyone call her Jamie.
Really?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Oh, Chopper. Okay, and how are you guys feeling? You're going to be in finals. Can you guys go all the way and win the flag?
Well, I think you just, you know, you go back to the process always with these games, and like, you know, it's just another game, but at the same time, you just want to focus on the process of this week and making sure that we train well and prepare well. But like, we are massive underdogs, and that's the position you love to be in because you have nothing really to lose. And I think we are in a good position that we're starting to play our brand of footy, and that's important. When we play our brand of footy, we enjoy it and we perform. So that's definitely our big focus this week.
Awesome. Well, this week's I'm a Trade of the Year nominee goes to your good mate, Sabrina Frederick. Girls, what has Sabrina brought to the locker room along with her strength up forward? She had a quiet few games there, but she is really, really having some good games recently.
Yeah, well, she got stung with COVID, I think, around round 4, round 5, and I've never seen anyone come back better from COVID. But she, you know, I think she really gave her some confidence. She went back through the VFL, and I think she kicked 4 one game in the VFL and just brought that confidence up, and she's really brought it back to AFLW level, and she's a massive leader for that young forward line that we have up there.
Yeah, she's absolutely fantastic. What are your thoughts on it, Sarah?
Yeah, I think similar to Ruby as well. And, like, you know, I've thrown in a few balls to her a few times that she makes me look like a great player when I'm like, that was a terrible ball that I gave in, and then Sabs just manages to mark it out of nowhere. So I'm like, I go up to her after the game, I'm like, thanks a million for that one, Sabs. But she's been really good, and she just seems to be really decisive and assertive at the moment with the way she's playing. And it was great to see her kick a goal against her old club, because I've no doubt that a day like yesterday would have been hard for her.
Yeah, it's always nice getting one against your old club, isn't it? Now, I want to talk to you two. Obviously, you live together. I don't know if you've watched the show previously, but you have had a little Barney on television this morning. What is Rubes like to live with? Like, what is she messy?
Apart from the absolute pleasure.
Ruby is a full-time job. Like, it's hard enough being an athlete. I'm also a mother to Ruby. And yesterday she ate the chocolate off my cappuccino, so we're actually not really talking at the moment. And she is an absolute mess. So do you want me to show you inside her room, and then give you a real feel for what
you're going to take us for a little trip? We're going into the...
Don't you do it.
We're going into the
I
secret...
have been very good recently, and I've had a busy week, and my life's gotten on top of me, and it's organised chaos.
Wow.
I was up early to come here this morning, and I didn't have a chance to turn the lamp off. That drawer's open because Rowe's been in stealing my socks. That's why that drawer's open. So, look, that's the worst it's been for a while.
That's bad now. That is bad.
Well,
does it smell okay?
I do rob her socks. Nothing annoys Ruby more than me robbing her socks. So obviously I do that often then.
I have a running joke though with Sarah that she's like they're my socks. She is like a 14-year-old boy who's never been by himself for a weekend, whose parents have gone out of town. That's what she's like to live with. Not cutting food on the cutting board, leaving her stuff everywhere. So really, I'm the mum, and I think every one of my teammates can vouch for that.
All right, I got to get into this. We're
going to have to coach, because there's no end here.
All right, we've had
keep going.
Our IMA Insurance Trade of the Year nominee for round 9. The Trade of the Year will win $2,500 thanks to IMA. Get an online quote in an instant. Cover anywhere, anytime. Visit ima.com.au. You can also contact IMA by ringing 13-IMA. They'll even insure you and your messy little bedroom you've got there.
Our house needs insurance because she's going to burn it down one of these days. So.
All right, Rowe, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, as we head to the break, let's take a look at the AFLW Rising Star nominees from round 8, thanks to NAB, supporting footballers from NAB AFL Auskick to the big time.
Quality
Welcome back to Women's Footy for NAB, supporting footballers from NAB AFL Auskick to the big time. Thanks for joining us on Zoom. Cora, Staunton, welcome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, you had an absolutely huge game yesterday. 4 goals. That takes you into equal leading goal kicker alongside Taylor Harris for the season. How does that feel?
Yeah, I suppose I don't really take any much notice of goal scoring charts and stuff like that. They're not very big at home, but yeah, I've had a few WhatsApps all right overnight that yeah, I've stood up here at the top. So I suppose that's nice, but yeah, it's not all about goals really for me, I'm afraid.
I don't know if you've watched the show much this season, but we've pretty much talked about you every week, and you're just so consistently impressive. We absolutely love watching you. How are you feeling about your season?
Yeah, obviously from a team point of view, it's been disappointing. You know, I suppose our aspirations at the start of the year is to get into the top 6 and make finals. Now we haven't done that in the last 2 years, so. Yeah, from that point of view, obviously it's nice to finish on a win and a good performance. So, you know, obviously moving forward for the club, whenever that might be now, it's really important to finish on a high and a good performance. You know, we obviously had, I think said after the match, Al said after the match, we did 11 girls that debuted this year. So that's quite a lot when you're trying to kind of find consistency in team play and stuff. So, but yeah, overall, I enjoyed the season as I do every year when I come over.
Cora, a very decorated Gaelic career as well, playing at the highest level in 2 countries. How much longer do you see yourself going?
I was waiting for that question. That's a good question. I don't honest answer. I don't know. I kind of just reassess at the end of each season. So yeah, I'll have to kind of sit down in the next kind of few weeks before I go home to decide obviously what I'm doing. You know, some of the decisions obviously based on me, some of it's based on where the club are going and whether they want me back. So yeah, I've always kind of said if my body is in good shape and my mind is enjoying it, I'll probably still keep on going. But yeah, I really need a little bit of space probably to make that decision over the next couple of weeks, and I'm normally pressurised to make it before I go home. And
how is your body feeling, Cora?
Yeah, I'm pretty lucky. Even though I've had, you know, obviously big injuries throughout my career, they've all been kind of you know, bones and stuff. You know, touch wood, I'm a person that really doesn't pick up any soft tissue injuries. I've never had hamstring injuries or anything like that. So, yeah, pretty much when I come over, I train fully. There's no cutting corners or any chop out for me. I like to just train fully. I think that's the key to me. I'll continue to train. Probably give myself maybe a couple of days off, but I just continue to train. I think the day I stop training, then that's when the body will probably tell me different. But yeah, touch wood at the moment, you know, once I got over after quarantine and, you know, I didn't miss any training at all and obviously got to play the full 10 games. And
probably a shorter amount of time to make that decision about your career with a possible August start. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's difficult. To be honest, obviously it's more difficult now for the Irish girls. I'm a little bit different to them. I'm not playing, obviously, inter-county, which is playing at the top of your game. I retired from that a few years ago, so it's probably a little less difficult for me to make the decision rather than the majority of the Irish girls. Yeah, in August starts, it's very hard, especially with expansion coming, 4 new teams coming in. You know, you wouldn't like to be an expansion club manager or coach trying to put a list together in that short period of time. And I suppose we've girls in our club that, you know, move to Sydney for 6 months and go other places for other 6 and go home to work. So I know that's thrown a lot of them off. We haven't had our chat with the AFLW. I think we have that this Wednesday. So yeah, I'm sure there'll be discussions, but you know, whatever it'll be, the AFL make the decision. You're just going to have to wear with it. Cora, thanks so much for joining us. It's been great to have your insight. No bother at all. Thanks for having me on. Okay, up next, thanks to Pillar Products, is the Analyzer, coming up after this. Welcome back to Women's Footy. Thanks to NAB. I'm going to throw it over to Ruby at the big plasma now for the Analyzer for Pillar Products window film exclusively at Bunnings. Yeah, it's a really promising piece of play here from a team that has probably struggled to string this together throughout the season. So we've got the build-up in the back half, just nice and composed, slowly out of there. We've got the mature head of Ash Atkins, you know, just directing her teammates, which you love to see from your leaders on the field, changing the lanes, which is really shifting that North Melbourne defence and making them run across field, and then hitting up those short leads, really honouring them and the girls that are working hard to get up. I love the look inside. That is just beautiful, and it really sets up a
a good play for the forwards. Now, this one here, we just want to find a mark here, and this is the difference between, we'll pause here, but this is the difference between the great teams and the teams that are still developing is the composure to lower the eyes, find a mark at the top of the 50, and at the end here, she goes on to spray it out on the full, unfortunately, but, you know, right here, you know, you've got 3 forwards who are in really dangerous positions, and if we can just lower the eyes and be really smooth by foot, they're hitting the scoreboard there. So really promising from the Eagles, but just lacking that composure. But I mean, footy like that, that's great signs heading into next season for them.
Well, that was the analyzer for Pillar Products, and they've got you covered inside and out. Shutters, roller blinds, window film exclusively at Bunnings. Well, let's have a look at the goal of the week for Underworks, serious about sport. This week, it's Rebecca Webster's stunning dribble kick to open the scoring against the Giants. Have a look at this, Ruby. Don't you want to kick one of these from the boundary?
I know. I think if I'm as a half-back up in the boundary, I think, at forward boundary, I think my coach will be pretty spewing at me. But, yeah, no, really impressive. Just the nous to be able to put it in the boot and bend it inside. Beautiful goal, especially so early in the game and driving momentum. It was a shame they couldn't continue with that sort of football through.
I don't even reckon she was going for goal for that one, so she'd be very happy with that.
Back her in there. I'll back her in.
Well, Underworks knows Aussies are serious about sport. That's why they are rewarding grassroots clubs with a new pair of Underworks sports socks for every player. After the break, we are going to have a look at Sunday's games. Stick with us. We'll be back. Welcome back to Women's Footy. Thanks to NAB. We're going to take a look at today's games because there are some big ones ahead. We've got the Saints versus the Adelaide Crows. We've got the Western Bulldogs versus the Brisbane Lions and the Dockers versus the Suns. Let's talk first about the St Kilda versus Adelaide games. Rubes, who do you like?
Got to go Adelaide for this one. I've been loving what Saints have been producing the last couple of weeks, and so good to see them get some points on the board. But Adelaide are just too strong, aren't they?
They are. They're pretty good at the moment. They've been so consistent all season, and you'd think they're going to get up today. Absolutely. Let's look at the Bulldogs versus Brisbane game as well. Brisbane in great form. The Bulldogs have been a little bit inconsistent, but they are the upset team, aren't they?
They are. They're one of those teams that can come out and, you know, beat the best teams in the comp. So we saw them do that against Adelaide, and, you know, they've got nothing to lose here today. So, yeah, they could come out and smash it. But I love that midfield matchup. It'll be a pretty exciting game to watch, I think, but my tip will be with Brizzy.
Yeah, mine is with Brizzy as well. And then the Freo versus the Suns. The Freo got a lot of players back in.
They do. They've got their spine back. Those 6 players they were missing last week after a bit of a blunder against Melbourne, which I'm sure they'll be happy to forget that one, and especially going into finals. But I think they'll be back and better than ever.
Awesome. Let's take a look at the ladder quickly now. Melbourne still up the top. Adelaide, Brisbane Lions, Kangaroos, Collingwood and Fremantle. If Adelaide don't get the win and Brisbane do, they'll be up there and have a bye heading into the finals, which I think is what you want going into the finals, isn't it, Rubes?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us today. You've been watching Women's Footy. We've had Ruby Slicer on the show. It's been absolutely wonderful having you, Ruby. Thanks.
Thanks so much for having me.
We'll catch you next time.